Say hello and wave goodbye. One team will be firmly in the promotion drive seat and the other team could be falling out of that promotion race. Port Vale host Bradford City in what is a huge promotion decider. It doesn't decide it all, but it'll have a huge say to it in this 6-pointer. If Bradford City win, then we go on 73 points, leaving Port Vale on 67. If Port Vale win, they go level on points with Bradford City. It's a huge game. Neither team can afford to lose. Let me know your thoughts going into this huge game in the comments down below. Like the video if you do want to do so, and subscribe if you're new. We're on the road to 900 subscribers, and all support has been massively appreciated over these last few months. Let's get it on. In 2025, Port Vale have only lost 2 games this calendar year, losing 2-1 to Colchester and losing 1-0 to Barrow. I watched both games and they were both on Tuesday nights. And in that Barrow game at half time, I heard the commentator say a stat. He said Port Vale haven't won on a Tuesday night in 3 years. 3 years. And it's Tuesday night tomorrow. And Bradford City this season have been fantastic at breaking teams unbeaten and winning runs. We did it with Colchester, we did it with Walsall, and we did it with Grimsby as well. I think we're one of a few teams to beat Grimsby away from home this season. Many teams have gone on great runs and we've broken it, but when teams need to get on a run again, or they've got a bad record in one way or another. We saw it with Gillingham, they're on a bad winless run, and other teams as well. Tranmere, they were the worst away team in the league. Port Vale haven't won on a Tuesday night in 3 years. We will end that for them, no doubt. That's sort of what we do. But against the better teams, we are better. We lost to Wimbledon away, which were a really tight game, and it could have gone either way. And we lost to Doncaster, and we had a lot of our players injured, and that was the only game, apart from Tranmere, that we did lose at home this season. Whereas everyone else, I think we pretty much beat, apart from Wimbledon at home. They're a bit of a bogey team, and Notts County as well. We do play better against teams who want to play against us, want to play out from defence, and want to press us a bit more, and the game's a bit more open. However, Port Vale are exactly a team I'd say are expansive, although they can be. They're a funny side. They're very imbalanced. When I've watched them when they played fantastically well and they've dominated a team, and I've also watched them when they look like a proper mediocre team where they can't really get going. They don't look like they have any plan, any structure, and they get found out. And I think that's Darren Moore. For me, I've never really been impressed with Darren Moore as a manager. He did great work at Doncaster, but then left them for a better opportunity the first time he got it. Jeff Wednesday got the job done, coming third, but with that team you'd have expected him to get promotion. And in his first season, they didn't get promotion into the Championship, having relegated them. Huddersfield went on an abysmal run. West Brom again, you'd expect them to bounce back with the squad he had. And this Port Vale team, he got them relegated last season, although it was a poor squad. He's rebuilt the squad into a great shape, and this is a team that is expected to get into a top 3, and if it doesn't get in the top 3, it's a big failure. I mean, let me know, Port Vale fans, but if you don't go up this season, I think you'd then struggle, because that's what it seems to happen in League 2. If you don't go up in your first season, you then find it very hard to get out of it, as we've seen. I think we've been in it 6 years, so that this has to be a promotion-winning season with the squad they've got. They've got some real star players. Jaden Stockley, I think he's got 9 goals, 7 assists this season, and he's a huge threat up front, a massive handful. One of the best strikers in the league, just because of his whole overall presence and what he offers to a team. When he's been injured, Port Vale haven't been that same side where they do like to build up from the back, which is quite boring to watch sometimes when they're passing it sideways and backwards. I hate that type of football, but having Stockley in the team, they can have that outlet, they can go along. He's a big threat from crosses. He scored a lot with his head this season, and he can win those knockdowns and allow other players into the game as well. So he's a huge player for them, and probably the most important player. They've also got Tolai, who came in from Aldershot for quite a bit of money in the summer. He's impressed, and he's going to go on to a bigger level because he's got a great touch, good technique, and he's getting the goals and the contribution to go along with that. And he's been fantastic this season for Port Vale again, when he's found his way into a level and then got himself fit as well. And then the midfield, I think along with us, they've got the strongest midfield in the league. They've got George Byers. What a player George Byers is, from Sheffield Wednesday. Shouldn't be playing at this level, but he is. Ben Garrity, Again, goal contributions, he's had that for a number of years now, and runs that midfield from Ryan Crosdale. Huge part to play in Stockport's promotion-winning season. Ran their midfield. He's a fantastic player as well. Really good at breaking up play. And Walters as well. There's been a bit of issues with him off the pitch, with the Port Vale fans and him sort of clashing a bit. I'm not too sure of the ingoings, but there's not a great relationship there. But he's a fantastic player on the ball, make things happen, and he adds a lot to their midfield. And Ronan Curtis as well. He's sort of in that mould of can play behind the strikers, and he's got 6 goals this season. And the type of goals, the scoring, the timing of the goals. He's been huge for that, like the win against Morecambe. And that's something that this Port Vale team we have to be careful from. They don't stop, they don't give in. They don't have a mentality where they go, we're just going to stop now. We'll take a point when it gets late on. They have an ability of scoring late goals. They did it against Morecambe, and they did it early on in the season as well. They forced their way back into games because, and against Bauer, they were unlucky not to do it as well. And Colchester, they got that late goal but then conceded. They have an ability to turn it on, and that's my frustration with Dalmore. Like I was saying, he's too pragmatic for me as a manager. He has these top teams and a top budget wherever he seems to go, but he's too pragmatic. He plays his 5-3-2, which isn't like Bradford City's. When we played a 5-3-2 early on in the season, it's the centre backs and the wing backs are very deep. There's just a lacking of fluidity sometimes when I've watched them, and a lacking of expression. But that's when it's the drawing, or they might be winning. But when they concede and they go 1-0 down, that's when they open up and they become really expansive and freedom. They have a lot of freedom in their attacking areas and they create a lot of chances, and that's when they look like they're at the best. And when they play like that, they're one of the most dangerous teams, if not the dangerous team in the league. And that's why they do score a lot of late goals, and that's why they have that ability to stick together and have that winning mentality to get those late goals like we've seen this season, because they then open up. To my starting 11 for the game tomorrow night. Let me know yours in the comments down below and your score predictions as well. And any other thoughts going into a game? Do you think it is a must win? Would you take a point? And what is the overall promotion picture looking like? Who would you have your favourites currently for the top 3? And would Port Vale be in there for you? Or if you're a Port Vale fan, of Bradford City as well, one of the favourites. And how do you see them as a threat to you tomorrow? But Sam Walker keeps his place in goal. Back 3 stays different. Neil Byrne comes out and Baldwin goes into that right-sided position. I think that's one area where you look at us and we do need that bit of ball playing about us, a progressive centre-back in that position. That's what cost us against Accrington and Tranmere. But Byrne, defensively, I thought he was great against Accrington and Colchester. So it's a tough decision to bring him out of the squad completely. But in the central position, I've got Paul Huntington, and I think every time he's played, he's looked dominant and strong in the air. And against Jayden Stockley, you're going to need one of those, Neil Byrne or Paul Huntington. But I think Huntington, he's coming mid-season to the end of the season. I think we need to make the most of him against these sorts of games where he's got the experience and he can deal with Jayden Stockley. I'd have no doubt about that. Whereas if we don't play with Huntington, I'd be much more concerned about the threat over Jayden Stockley. And then left-sided centre-back, now this is tough. You could go with Kieran Kelly again for his height and his physical nature, so if he can't beat Huntington, then he goes off to another centre-back and it's Kieran Kelly, and he ain't the slowest. Jack Shepherd's probably been the best centre-back in the league this season. Critchlow is the best of, ball playing out of the 3 as well. But I've gone with Kieran Kelly. Shepherd's had a bit of a knock these last few weeks, and he wasn't really coming out of it with the best of form. Kelly came on and impressed me against Accrington, and I think I'm leaning towards the physicality. And if Stockley can't beat Paul Huntington, he'll go over to Kelly, and even Talai, he's a handful as well. So that's my reasoning for Kieran Kelly coming back into a side. I can't remember last time he started. I suppose it would have been Wimbledon, wasn't it, when he came off. Adra Molan, left wing back, he got brought off against Accrington. I think it will have just been to have a bit more of an attacking threat with Wright, even though Adra Molan's probably the most attack-minded wing back you'll see in the league. And I think his pace and his direct nature in that position is going to be important for us tomorrow. And Brad Halliday in right wing back as well. That's a no-brainer. Again, we're going to need his energy and his enthusiasm and his defensive ability in a game like that. Midfield, Smallwood keeps his place. His experience is going to be key, and he's been a really consistent 8 out of 10 performer this season. I want us to play for him a bit more tomorrow though than we did against Accrington. I think if he can get on the ball and start dictating, then we can really start to dominate them. It's not something we did against Accrington often enough. And then this one's a tough one. Do you keep Keller in, or do you bring Patterson back in? Patterson, the most energetic midfielder in the league and can make bursting runs and can score from distance. But Keller's had that. It would be harsh to bring him out because whilst he hasn't really contributed with goals or assists, he's shown good energy and he's got on the ball, and you can tell he's gonna get to a higher level. But I think you've got to go with Patterson. And whilst Patterson is a player for us now, I think Keller in a 3-4 years time he'd look at him and go, I remember when he was at City, you could tell he was going to be a good player, but is he what we need now for a win tomorrow? I don't think he is, and I think Patterson, you've got to make the most of him for the 60, 70, 80 minutes that you can get out of him every week, and he's a game changer, so you've got to throw him in for a game like this. And then the attacking areas, Bobby Poynton comes back in as well. He's crucial for us. You saw him with a cameo against Accrington and Colchester, how he can change a game and how he can dictate. And you need to go with his strongest players, and Poynton, by far one of our better players for one of our own as well. And then this is where the tricky decision goes. There's a lot of players who have performed well recently as that other attacking midfield. I mean, of course, you could put Patterson in that advanced role and keep Keller in the deeper role. But I've gone with George Lapsley just because he's got that threat. He can break into a box, he can score a header, he can sort of add to that second striker position, and he's good for a goal. Callum Kavanagh up front, I think as long as we don't go long and we're not sat too deep and we're not inviting loads of pressure on, which we probably will be, especially in the first half, I think it could be important if we're playing through the midfield and we're creating a load of chances, because you can occupy the defenders and it means there's more space for Poynton and Lapsley to break into those attacking areas. When we're front-footed, Kavanagh's the best player to play, whereas when we're sat a bit deeper you need that focal point up front, and he doesn't offer that at all. So both teams need to win. Hopefully both teams are going to give us a great game to watch, and I think it will be, because there's a lot of riding on this game, so it could make it cagey, but I think whoever takes the game to the opposition will end up winning it. I think that's just the way it'll go, because when I've seen Port Vale, like I said earlier, when they're defensive minded and they're pragmatic, they look much better when they're expansive. So if they take the game to us, I'd worry, whereas if we can take the game to them, I think we can find enough opportunities to potentially break them down and get a winner. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, your score predictions and your lineups, and any other thoughts going into this huge promotion race decider on Tuesday night, April Fool's Day. Who's going to come out the full in this run-in? Let me know your thoughts. Like the video if you did, and subscribe if you're new. On the road to 900 subscribers. All support is massively appreciated. It's free as well, don't forget that, and have a good one.